everybody, it's Becky. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sitting in my comfortable spot, which you guys know usually means a longer video. I'm already losing my voice because I filmed, I think, 4 or 5 videos today. So let me get a drink of water. Maybe that'll help. And then we're going to jump into some assumptions that you guys have about me. Of course, the bad thing about drinking while you film is you rub off your lipstick. So who knows what that looks like. But anyway, so you guys probably know that the assumptions tag is kind of going around where people tell you their assumptions of you, and then you take some time to sit down and like kind of respond to those assumptions. You guys had a lot of assumptions. So I've got, I think, 3 pages of assumptions that you guys have made about me. And I appreciate you guys doing that because I hate when I ask a question and like nobody responds. It's embarrassing. So I'm glad that you guys had a lot of things to say. And I'm going to sit down and answer them all. So the first assumption was that you're conservative and traditional. That is definitely very true. I think my conservative nature comes from being a Christian and not wanting to do what a lot of people or a lot of society is saying is okay now. I don't agree with probably any of that stuff. And I think that kind of comes along, that kind of goes along with being a Christian and trying to follow the Bible. It just automatically somewhat makes you conservative and traditional. So in that sense, yes, I am very conservative and traditional. The next thing is that you're very set in your own ways and not big on change. That is so true. When I was little, my name was Bossy Boots because I just kind of, it was my way or the highway, and sometimes it still is. Kind of, I like things to be a certain way, and it stresses me out when they're not. And I think thankfully the people in my life give me grace in that way, and they know that I'm that way. So my husband and my parents and my kids, you know, they kind of just know that's how I am, and they usually humor me, which is nice, because I do get really stressed out when things don't exactly go the way that I want them to go, which I know is childish, but it is. I'm being honest with you guys. That is one of my flaws. It's just kind of part of who I am. Third assumption is that you put on makeup every day. Pretty much. If I'm going out in public, then I do put on makeup because I just feel much more comfortable that way. This is pretty much my standard makeup. I guess for some people it may be too much for every day. I don't know. It's just kind of the way I've always done it. Now, if I'm in a hurry and I don't have time, then yes, I will go out with like just mascara or maybe just one shade of eyeshadow really quickly. But I never go out without foundation. I never go out without doing my eyebrows and doing something with my eyes. Even if it's not eyeshadow, I will at least put on mascara. Next assumption is that you're strict. It says, show me your ways. I'm having issues with my 3-year-old not listening. I assume your kids behave well. I think I'm strict by a lot of people, like from what I've seen other people's parenting styles. I feel like, yes, I am strict. My parents were strict with me, but there was gentleness and grace kind of interwoven with that strictness, if that makes sense. So they had rules that we knew we had to follow, and then we knew if we didn't follow them, there were consequences. So that, I think, is the main thing, is explaining to your kids what the rules are. You don't necessarily have to tell them why. And then, you know, if they break that rule, then they have chosen, and make sure you put it that way to them. You're choosing not to follow the rules, so this is your consequence. You know, let them know that misbehaving is a choice, that if they make it, there is a consequence. My kids aren't perfect by any means. I'm not perfect either, of course. But they do behave very well. I feel like they're polite, they're considerate, and I'm doing my very best to make sure that they are polite people to send out into the world, because I don't want to be sending out kids that are entitled, snotty, rude, all those things. And they both have their flaws in different ways, but I do think they overall are very well behaved. People have come up to me and told me, like teachers and different people, that they have been great to have in class, or they were always a big help. So that's always good to hear. But they have both, and they do still both have different things that, you know, are not strengths of theirs, that we try to work on. But for the most part, yes, they are very well behaved. And for the most part, yes, I feel like I am fairly strict, but it's just because as many potential, you know, pitfalls as there were when we were kids of making mistakes, there's even more now than ever, between peer pressure and social media and, you know, screen time and cell phones and things that are on TV. Like, there's just so many more things to have to be strict about. I try not to be too much because I know that if I say no to everything, it's just gonna make them annoyed and like feel like they're being smothered. So I do try to not be overwhelmingly strict, but it is very, very challenging. It is a balance, and I'm trying to figure it out every single day, and I don't have it all figured out, but I'm doing the best I can. Next assumption is you have it all together with homeschooling and keeping up the house. Homeschooling seems like it's very easy for you and that things go smoothly. That is definitely not true. I do not have it all together in any department of my life, and when I feel like I'm getting one thing done really well, then something else has slid and kind of like, oh, well, now I'm not doing this. So no, we definitely do, I definitely do have struggles keeping up with the house, doing homeschooling, YouTube, like trying to work out, and just basic living stuff that you have to do. You know, paying bills and making phone calls and balancing the checkbook. Like I constantly feel like I've got 9,000 balls in the air and I'm just trying to do all this, you know, to juggle it all. And I don't. I do not do it all. I don't have it all together. It may seem that way because I don't film very many days in the life videos just because I don't put my kids on the internet. So that makes it really hard for me to share day in the life videos very often. But if I did, you guys would see that my house is not always clean. And when I get it clean, it doesn't stay that way for longer than 2 days. I can't seem to get the upstairs clean and the downstairs clean at the same time. So like even if the downstairs is clean, there's always something going on upstairs. It's a mess. You know, there's always kind of that give and take. And something's always vying for my time, and it's not, and as far as homeschooling goes, it is not always easy for me. We have had some years that have been easier than others. This year in particular has been a fairly easy year. We didn't have any huge curriculum upheavals like we did last school year. We changed like my oldest daughter's grammar program like 4 times, I think. We didn't have any huge changes. We didn't have any huge issues with the girls. Like, they've both done really well with getting their work done for the most part and staying, you know, kind of motivated. And this year has gone really fast. We've only got till the end of April, and then we're done with 3rd grade and 9th grade. So yes, this year has gone really well, but there have been other years that for different reasons have not gone as well. Don't feel like that you're the only one that doesn't have it together, because you're not. There are tons of people out there, and I guarantee you that nobody has their stuff together all the time. So even if it seems like it is, it's not always easy for me to be homeschooling or to try to take care of the house and do all the things I have to do. It is not easy, and I fail at something every single day. The next assumption is that you're wealthy. Well, I guess wealth is in the eye of the beholder. Are we okay? Yes. Have we always been okay? No. My husband is in sales. He's in a sales like commission only job, which he's been doing now for about 14 years. When he took that job, it was because he had lost his job. And it was the only job he could find like quickly. And so we were like, okay, we'll just take it and we'll find something else while you're getting paid, you know, with this other place. Here it is all these years later, and he's still doing it and will continue to do it for the foreseeable future. And we have had years that have been really tough, and we have had years that have been like off the charts. Never thought we would make that much amazing. But being in commission only, it's very, you know, like this. So we're not rich. We still have things that we want to do that we don't because we can't afford it. And we still are trying to work on building up our savings account. From having to drain it years ago when the economy went bad and he wasn't making hardly any money, and I didn't have any YouTube money at that time. So we had to use all of our savings to kind of get through that, you know, the crash of the economy. God has provided for us in times of need, and he is continuing to provide for us right now when we're in a season of life where things are going okay. But no, we're definitely not rich. The next assumption is that you really like shopping. If I was to meet you in person, I might be a little intimidated at first because you seem so perfect, but actually you're very kind-hearted and caring. Well, I'm not perfect. I am definitely not perfect, and I've actually met quite a few subscribers, and I worried after I met them. I was like, they probably think I'm like a stuck-up snob, because I'm actually very shy in person. Like, I almost failed public speaking in college because I was terrified to get up and talk in front of people. And plus, you never know what people really like what are they thinking of you? Like, are they being like, well, she doesn't look like she does on YouTube, or she looks fatter in person than she does, you know, like whatever. You know, I think all these things, and I'm wondering, are they thinking those things? And then I wonder if I seem like I was nice, because I don't want them to think that I wasn't nice, but I was really just nervous or intimidated by you guys. So it's just kind of funny, but I do like shopping. I think I actually prefer online shopping than in person. I don't know. Depends on where it is and what the situation is. I really hate clothes shopping, which I know a lot of women like, but I just can't find anywhere that has clothes that I like half the time. I don't really like that. I really prefer to buy things online. I'll buy like a bunch of stuff in like multiple sizes and then try it on at home, see what fits, and then just take the rest of it back, because I just really don't like shopping in stores. Now, I do like going to Dollar Tree. That is like one of my favorite places to go. How dumb is that? But I really like going to Dollar Tree. We go there about every week just to see what they've got, what's new. What else? Do I like to shop anywhere else? This is how pathetic I am. Costco. I don't have a Costco membership anymore, but when we did, I used to look so forward to going to Costco because they had the neatest stuff. They had great books. They had stuff that you didn't know you needed until you got there, which is one of the reasons why we don't go to Costco anymore, because it just got so expensive to go to get groceries and then end up buying, you know, $200 worth of stuff that we didn't really need. So that was my favorite place to shop, was Costco. So now I just stick to the Dollar Tree and then grocery shopping, which I hate. But yes, online shopping, yes. In-person shopping, not so much. And no, I definitely am not perfect. I am pretty bossy. I'm very set in my ways, as we talked about earlier. I can be a little hard to deal with because of those things. Like, I don't ever want to go anywhere new to eat. I don't ever want to go anywhere different out of the routine. So, like, I am not perfect. And yes, I think I am very caring and kind-hearted. I try to be nice to everybody, even if they're not being nice to me. And I do have a very strong maternal instinct. So ever since I was little, I've always wanted to like raise people. Like, I would tell people, adults, my mom says you shouldn't smoke and smoking's bad for you. And like, I worry about people. I worry about my daughter's friends that don't wear sunscreen. I'm like, oh, you're not wearing sunscreen, you know, so that's so bad for you. Or the girl at Panera that told me she goes to the tanning bed every other day. And I'm like, ooh, that is so dangerous for you, and it's not worth looking tan to risk all of the potential skin cancer and wrinkles you're going to have. You know, that kind of has made people, I think, not like me in some ways, because I do tend to tell people what I think they shouldn't do if I feel like it's hurting them. I know it's not always my business, but that's just kind of my nature, to want to help people and take care of people and tell people, you know, you really shouldn't do this. It's going to hurt you. But I think it annoys people and makes them mad. So definitely, I don't think you'd be intimidated by me if you met me. The next assumption is that, and she said, I try to say this sympathetically and with kindness, that you are so dedicated to your health and fitness because of previous or current issues with body image and self-confidence. Well, I think pretty much, I don't know anybody who doesn't have some type of issue with body image or confidence. Now, I'm way more confident now than I ever was. Yes, I was a chubby child and a chubby teenager until I was about 16 or 17. I would say I was somewhat chubby. So yeah, that was an issue, but I don't think it's bothering me now. I think the reason I do it now is because when I was 35 pounds heavier, I looked in the mirror one day and I'm like, who is this person? Because I wasn't that old. How old was I? Let me see if I can find it. And if you look back at my old YouTube videos, like the really old ones, when I first started making videos, you can see how much different I looked. Let me see what it was. 5 years ago, I went to the doctor, and I forgot where I was going, what I was going for, but I went to the doctor and they told me how much I weighed, and I was like, how can that be how much I weigh? So 5 years ago, I was 33 years old. And I was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. I was miserable, I was uncomfortable, and I just feel like I knew I had to make a change. That really is what inspired the healthy kind of weight loss, maintaining kind of lifestyle I have right now, because I didn't want to be that way anymore. I didn't want to look in the mirror and not recognize who I was. And I didn't want to look in the mirror and realize that I had already given up on myself at 33 years old with 2 kids, and I was like, I had peaked already. Like, I didn't want that to be my story. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. But I mean, if you look at my face and everything, like my face, my arms didn't lay down by my sides because of the weight I had on my body and my arms. Like, I was just very, very unhappy and uncomfortable. So that is why, really, ultimately, I made that final decision to be like, this is ridiculous. You've got to get it together. and make yourself a priority and exercise and eat right. And do I eat right all the time? No. I just had brownies last night because it was Saturday, and we always have brownies on Saturday and watch a movie. Like, I'm not the body that I want to be. I'm probably never going to be. I've had 2 C-sections and a myomectomy, which is pretty much like a C-section. So I've had my stomach muscles cut through 3 times. My stomach is never going to look like I want it to. I'm always going to have bigger thighs. It's just the way I'm built. I've always been that way. But I want to be healthy, and I want to be confident, and I want to challenge myself and, you know, constantly work on health and fitness goals, you know, lifting more weight or adding more tone or doing different things, because I know it's good for me and I know it makes me feel better about myself. So I really do those things for a love of myself perspective instead of a hating what I don't like about myself perspective, if that makes sense. The next assumption is your house is tidy and organized most of the time. Well, this kind of goes back to the one about having it all together. Yes and no. There are certain areas in my home that are organized and or something I can usually get cleaned every single week. Then there are other places in my house that are a mess, like my closet. I shared a closet reorganization with you guys a couple years ago of my closet, and it does not look like that anymore. I mean, some of it does, but for the most part, that is where things get put when I don't know where to put anything else, or it's where I keep all of the gifts for the upcoming holidays. So like those are kind of up in baskets. Like it's kind of messy. So that is kind of the place that I'm never really proud of, and eventually I'll get around to reorganizing it, and then I'll share it with you guys, I'm sure. But no, there are places in my house that are unorganized or messy, but it's always kind of a constant thing I'm working on and trying to get through. And of course, there's only one me. There's only so many hours in a day. So it's not easy, but no, my house is not always organized. There are places that are definitely not organized, and it is not always clean. Next assumption really made me laugh too. You were a straight A student. You were highly driven and self-motivated. Well, that part is true, yes. I am self-motivated and driven when it's something I'm interested in. I have a really hard time if it's something I'm not interested in, which kind of goes back to the school thing. I was okay. I always did really good in history and English because those are my strong suits. Math and science were never good for me, and I got an F in PE. I was a senior in high school, and I didn't want to get sweaty at school because I had it like second or third hour, and I wear makeup, so I'm like, oh great, I'm going to get sweaty and stink all day, and there wasn't time to take a shower. Even if there was time, I probably still wouldn't take a shower because that's creepy, taking a shower at school. But anyway, so I didn't want to get sweaty, so I would never wear like my gym clothes, and then they would just make me sit out. And I did that enough times that I got an F in gym class. And so basically my senior year, I had to go and beg my gym teacher to give me a D so that I could graduate high school. But I always did well in English and history because I'm a pretty good writer and I can do that really well. So that was easy for me, but math and science were always really difficult. Science was a lot of math usually, so they kind of tied in together. And then when I was in college, I did get on the dean's list, I think every year. I can't remember how many years, but I did, I think, get on the dean's list at least one year, I know, both semesters, I think. So I was a decent student. I did okay in my strong areas, and I made it through with other things. Next assumption is you're looking forward to being 40. I was pleasantly surprised that we're very close in age. I turned 39 in July. I enjoy all your videos on homeschooling. Well, thank you. I don't want to be rude and say I'm not terribly looking forward to being 40. It's not because there's anything wrong with being 40. I think it just makes me sad because life is going so fast. That's why I don't really look forward to being 40, or any age really. I mean, it's better than the alternative. I don't want to die, but you know what I mean. Like my life is going so fast and I'm trying so hard to soak it all in, but things are so busy and we're all so busy that it's really hard to stop and enjoy every day and pay attention to all the good things that are happening every day and paying attention to what's going on with your kids. It's really hard to do that when you're so busy, and that's why I don't look forward to necessarily being 40, because it's just another year that's gone by that I'm getting older. And I know that's a blessing, but it's also kind of sad. And personality-wise, I still feel like I'm 16. Like, I feel the same. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be people's mother and old enough to be almost 40. Like, that just amazes me. I was telling my husband the other day that, you know, our oldest daughter has a boyfriend now, and I'm like, how can she have a boyfriend? Like, it just seems like the other day that me and him were dating, And now we have a boy getting in the car and saying, hey, you know, Mr. and Mrs., you know, that just amazes me that we're old enough to have a daughter that has a boyfriend. That just blows my mind. So even though I'm not necessarily looking forward to like 40, I am appreciative and very blessed every single year that I get to live. That is always a blessing. The next assumption is it takes a while to get to know you, that you have few close friends rather than many acquaintances. That is very true. I definitely wouldn't say it's true that it's hard to get to know me, because I tend to tell everybody everything I know, think, or feel right off the bat, and that, I think, scares people away. So I think because of that reason, I do have few close friends, because people don't know how to take me when I'm so blunt and honest from the beginning. Not like rude, but I mean, I don't really hold back my feelings about things, and when you meet people, I think they tend to be like, whoa, this is like way too much information. So I think that kind of scares people away, and it is really hard to find Christian friends that you actually mesh with. And so that in itself is a limiting thing, to try to find friends that are good, you know, moral friends. That's kind of a challenge. So for those reasons, yes, I do have very few close relationships, but that's okay with me, because I think it's better to have quality friends than just a whole bunch of friends. So I'd rather have 1 or 2 better friends than, you know, 20 friends who kind of aren't really that great. The next thing is that you're looking into a DVC membership, which is the Disney Vacation Club. I hope so. I would love to hear your take on it as a frequent park visitor. Well, we did look into it a couple years ago. Most of the time we only go once a year, and for once a year, from what I saw, it was not going to be the best option for us. It was very expensive. And I know in the long run it's supposed to be a better deal, which is what the DVC guy told us the other day, or not the other day, but I think it was October. It may have been May. You know how they have those little stands at the parks where they stand there and try to sell the Disney Vacation Club to you, and they start talking to you, so you start talking to them about something totally not related, and that's how they like suck you in, talking about the Disney Vacation Club. When we told him that we weren't interested, and we started to like leave, he yelled after us, well, see you next year, $5,000 later, and got all like attitudinal with us. And I was like, whoa, dude, you need to take it down a notch, because you are ruining my Disney mood. But anyway, we really haven't looked into it again, because like I said, it was so expensive that time we looked before, that I just haven't. We've kind of got, like, again, being set in our ways, we kind of just do the same thing the same way. So maybe it's worth looking into again, but I have not done it in the last few years. Okay, the next one's kind of long. It says, I haven't seen all your videos, so I don't know if you've covered it or not, but I guess that I have always assumed that you are a normally kind and quiet person who keeps to herself, very introverted and such. That's mostly because I'm kind of extreme of that and notice some similarities to the way that I act. For example, your voice sounds to me like you normally speak fairly quietly, and speaking loudly for the camera or whenever it's necessary requires effort. I also get the feeling that people outside of your home would probably be surprised to know that you act silly and make up silly songs when you're at home around your kids, because it's outside of your public comfort zone. Again, another thing that I do myself, so it could just be me. As far as the voice thing goes, no, I'm not terribly quiet. If you put me in front of a group, I'm like way close to the camera, but my back hurts. If you put me in front of a group to speak, yes, I would be a trembling mess. But if it's just me, like talking to a waiter or talking to people at a store or whatever, I am not quiet. A lot of the times my voice may sound like I'm having a hard time talking, because I am, like right now. I've already made 4 or 5 videos today. I'm losing my voice. It's hard to talk loud enough for my camera to hear me. So by the time I've made a couple videos, I am losing my voice, and I am straining a little bit to talk loud enough for you guys to hear me. I don't have like a separate microphone. It's just on my camera. So that's the first thing. I'm introverted and keep to myself. Again, it depends on the situation. Don't they say there's like an introverted extrovert? Like, that's definitely me. And astrologically, I am a Gemini, which is the twins. So I feel, even though I'm not like crazy into that, I do think it's interesting to know that the twins, like, they're very conflicted with themselves, and that's me. Part of me is very silly and jovial and outgoing if it's the right situation, but if it's a situation that I am either in front of a bunch of people, or I'm nervous, or I don't know anybody, or I don't know where I'm going, it's like a new place, then I can be a little bit more shy until I get warmed up and figure things out. So I'm definitely both of those things. I'm very kind of complex in that way. It really just depends on the situation. The next assumption is that you're very scheduled. You like to know what you're going to be doing on any given day. Not that you don't like to be spontaneous, it's just that spontaneity can throw your schedule off and might make you scramble to catch up. I'm this way. I love to go off and do something, but it throws me off and I have to catch up or I'm off kilter. Yes, I do make a to-do list every single day. I try to stick to it as much as possible. And I feel very overwhelmed sometimes when I have a certain thing that I want to do or need to get done and I can't get it done. It definitely overwhelms me. Another thing that makes me really stressed out is when I go somewhere and I come back and my house is messy. That makes me really nervous. So I get really addled by things like that, like messes or things that get thrown in that may throw me off schedule. Like you said, it really does kind of irritate me and make me stressed out. But I do try to be as scheduled as possible with the main things and then try to let the other things kind of happen as they will. That's my plan for each day. It doesn't always happen that way, but that's what I try to do. The next assumption is that you don't get your hands dirty much. Your manicure always looks flawless. Well, it depends on what you mean by getting your hands dirty. If you mean like digging in gardens and stuff, no. I'm not much of a gardener, planting type person. But as far as cleaning goes, yes, like I'm scrubbing bathtubs and toilets and baseboards and washing dishes and cleaning up dog footprints. Like I do all that stuff. It's just I paint my nails every week. So they do get messed up over the course of the week, but I redo them again on Saturday. So like this one I redid yesterday. And I do have a couple products that help to make it last longer, but they do still chip here and there, and they do kind of get like the tip wear on them, but that's just kind of part of having, painting your nails. But I really like to paint them every week because I feel like I've got kind of manly hands, and when I paint them, I feel like it makes them look a little bit more feminine. So I like to keep them painted, but it's definitely not always perfect. Again, with your house is always spotless. No, it is not. It is a mess. Like right now, if you could see my bedroom, there is all kinds of stuff on the TV cabinet over there that has been laying there since probably Christmas because I've been working on my oldest daughter's room. We've been reorganizing and repainting her room. I've been working on the playroom. Just all this other stuff going on, doing homeschool stuff, doing stuff for YouTube. So that stuff has been laying there since Christmas, and I will get to it soon, but it's still there. And just like when I get the downstairs clean, my bathroom up here is dirty. When I get this bathroom clean, I don't get a chance to clean downstairs. Like, so it's just always a give and take, but there is not always, my house is not always clean, I promise. Okay, the next one is that you are very guarded and do not desire a lot of fellowship with others. I only say this because I haven't seen a post of you saying that you went out with the girls, etc. Introvert maybe, which I can totally relate. I wouldn't say it's guarded. I think it goes back to what I said before about quality friends versus quantity friends, and having people in your life that you actually can go out with and be a good example for you and with you. You know what I mean? Like Christian friends for me, Christian friends, we don't drink, so that is not even something that I would do. But honestly, as much as I think friendships are important, at the end of the day, if I got a chance to go out and do something, I would choose to do it with my husband or my kids or my family before I would ever choose to go out with a friend. And I guess that's bad. I guess I should work more on my friends, like my relationship with my friends. But like I said, my husband works a lot, so we haven't had a date since last summer. I really want to go out on a date, and I know that we really should make more time to do that. But between his job, having kids, my YouTube work, homeschooling, and all of the activities that we're going to and from, there just really isn't much time to go out with anybody, much less friends. But if I did have time to go out, it would be with my husband, or it would be with my girls, or even by myself. I guess I kind of would sometimes like to be by myself because I'm always with people, all day long. So does that make me an introvert? I don't know. I don't really think it makes me an introvert. I just think it means that I prioritize other relationships before I do my friends. I don't know. Let's see. I don't think this is really an assumption because I can tell by your videos, but you are a very thrifty person, yes. The reason being that you like to save money for the rainy day or for unforeseen emergencies. You love your family and you have rules that you expect to be followed but can stray from them because you aren't a real strict parent. You like to have fun. Well, Yes, I feel like I am thrifty when it matters. Like I am thrifty all throughout my life as much as possible. I love getting a good deal. It's kind of a game. But then I also have things that I do spend money on. My most extravagant thing that I do is we go to Disney every year. That is an extreme purchase that is very expensive, and I try to save money on that as much as possible, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's very expensive. But I try to save money on other things as much as possible, just because I feel like, I don't know, that's just the way that I was raised, I guess, to not spend money when you don't have to, and not spend money on things that are unnecessary, which we all do have things that are unnecessary we spend money on, but you know what I mean, not excessively, I guess I should say. And then as far as, yes, I love my family, and yes, I have rules, and I would say that I am pretty strict. I do like to have fun, and me and the girls have an amazing time together. We have so much fun. But at the end of the day, I still have rules and expectations of them, and they know that, and they know there's consequences when they don't follow those rules or meet those expectations. And so I feel like I am strict, but I'm fun, which is how my parents were with me. And people say you can't be your kids' friends. I don't think that's true. I think the reason they say that is because you can't only be their friend. You have to be their parent first and their friend second, but you can be both. Because my parents were both. My parents still are both my friend and my parent. And so I know it can be done. You just have to put the parent part first and the friend part second. And once the parent part is taken care of, the friend part is easy. And because that you are their parent and they do hopefully have that respect for you, it makes being their friend easier because they respect you and want to please you. And so you can lay off a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a very give and take, yin and yang kind of a thing. But you can be their friend and their parent if you are their parent first and foremost, and then their friend. The next assumption is you always knew what you wanted to be, a wife and a mother, and you're killing it. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm killing it or not, but yes, I didn't really ever want to be anything. I didn't know necessarily that I wanted to be a mom and a stay-at-home mom at that, but I didn't really have any huge lofty career goals. I've always had a very entrepreneurial spirit. I would get these big wild ideas about being an author or opening a store or doing some kind of creative thing like from scratch, being my own boss. And I never really actually could make any of those things happen. And then YouTube came along, and that has definitely turned into the perfect thing that I was missing that I didn't know I was missing, but the thing I was looking for, you know, trying to create something from scratch that was mine, that I could work on and learn from and grow with. And so YouTube has definitely become that. But that's just a bonus, because on top of all that, once I had kids, like my main and ultimate goal was to be a stay-at-home mom, you know, at that point. And I didn't know if that was ever going to happen. But before that, as far as like going to school and going to college, no, I never really knew what I wanted to be. My degree is in office management because I figured that's something pretty generic that can go lots of different directions. And that was really just because I didn't know what else I wanted to be. But I didn't want to be in school forever. So if that kind of answers your question. The next thing is that you hung around the theater kids in high school. No, not really. I didn't really have that many friends in high school because kind of the same situation as now. A lot of people were doing things that I did not agree with or did not want to be a part of. So that very much limited my friendships. So I didn't have that many friends. But no, I don't think any of my friends were in theater. I had a couple friends that were in dance. And then just kids that were just regular, you know, go to school and leave kind of kids. Nobody that did really anything extracurricular. So you probably think that because of me being on YouTube, but definitely not. I did have a crush on a boy once that was in theater, but he never talked to me. So that doesn't really count, does it? The next assumption is that you live in a nice neighborhood. I would say it's a nice neighborhood, but it's very like middle class. Like it's not anything fancy. I mean, it's a nice house and it's in a safe area, and it's where it was new when we bought it, so that was nice. But it's nothing overly fancy, nothing overly big. We just try to make it as nice as we can and take care of it the best we can. Okay, so those were all the assumptions from the YouTube community tab. The next ones are from Instagram. I know this is really long. Does this tell me how long I've been talking? 43 minutes! Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll try to hurry. The next assumption is, you share my huge love for God and Disney. Yes, definitely. That you're shy and reserved. Again, back to the introverted extrovert. It depends on the situation. Overall, I would say no. In my everyday life, I am very outgoing and friendly to pretty much everybody that I meet. But if it was a big situation, like if I had to do this in front of a room, no, I couldn't do that. Definitely not. That you rarely ever lost your temper when your kids were little. No, that's not true. With my oldest daughter, when she was little, I lost my temper a lot. And I talked about this before. I think it's mostly because I had no clue what I was doing, and I would get so stressed out and overwhelmed when she didn't do what I thought she was going to do, or what I wanted her to do, or what I expected her to do. I would get really upset and stressed out and take that out on her sometimes by like yelling at her or whatever. And I feel really bad about that because I have figured out now, I think, why I did that, because I was overwhelmed and I didn't know what to do. But I think now I've learned just kind of go with the flow as much as possible. I still get really nervous and keyed up, but I don't yell at people really anymore. And I feel like that's because I have learned that most of the things that I was making a big deal about really were not that big of a deal at the end of the day. So, but yes, I have lost my temper before. I lost my temper really bad on a washing machine once too, but that didn't count, does it? When you were first married, you and your husband had no problem buying a house. That is definitely not true. We actually lived with my parents the first 2 years of our marriage, so we could get enough money to move out and get a house. We did. We moved out about 2 years after we got married, got a townhouse. He lost his job a month after buying the townhouse, so that was fun, but he was able to get another job and things got okay, and lived there, and for, I don't know, about 2 years, and we bought this house. So, but no, it definitely was not easy for us in the beginning, and thankfully my parents let us live there for a few years to kind of figure out what we were going to do and where we were going to move and save up money and all that stuff. The next one is, you're super sweet but go cray when things are not tidy. Yes. I wouldn't say crazy like mean, screaming crazy, but yes, I get very stressed out, very overwhelmed if things are messy, which is bad because I don't always have things clean. So thankfully my girls, my oldest especially right now, is very, very helpful. She'll just go in a big cleaning rage and just start picking things up and cleaning and hanging coats up and putting away shoes, and that really helps me because I do get very overwhelmed by the amount of things that I have to do every single day between being a mom and wife and homeschooling and working for YouTube and just regular stuff that I have to do. Plus I do all of the bookwork for the family, so I'm always doing something for that. So I get very overwhelmed when things are messy. Yes. You have close relationships with few. You guys, do you think I'm some kind of like shut in? You've all said this. But yes, I do have very few close relationships, and that is pretty much by choice. I could probably make it a point to go out and get more friends, but I don't really see the need to. I'm happy with the friends that I have because I know that they are all good people, and again, quality over quantity. The next assumption is you're a lovely person who can be really shy at times. Yes, back to the introverted extrovert. Well, I don't know if I'm a lovely person. I hope I am. But as far as being shy, I can be shy if it's a certain situation, but for the most part, I'm fairly outgoing with most people. As long as I feel comfortable, then yes, I am outgoing. And the last assumption, you guys have made it. If you've made it to the end, this is like my 30 things I learned in my 38 years of life video I did a few weeks ago. It was over an hour long, which this one's looking to be close to that. If you made it to the last assumption, I am very proud of you and I appreciate you for sticking around. But the last assumption is you like pop music better than country. Yes, definitely. Although I don't listen to much music at all because the girls are always with me most of the time, and we don't listen to the radio because of the songs, the language, the connotations, the dirty things people say in songs. We don't listen to the radio. If we do, when we had satellite radio, that was nice because we would listen to like Elvis or the 40s channel and big band and things like that. But with regular radio, no, we don't listen to that. But as a rule and as a whole, yes, I like pop music way better than country, especially better than new country. I like some of the old country stuff, like Aaron Tippin, like from back in the day. The Dixie Chicks, I used to like them. But overall, I like pop music better. I still like the Backstreet Boys from like back when, way back when. Britney Spears before she went crazy, Christina Aguilera, all those people from like that 90s pop generation, that is totally my thing. Justin Timberlake, I still like him. I do like Taylor Swift. I know she's like the country pop crossover. I do like her. Sia is probably my favorite singer. I like how she takes music and makes it different than anybody else. I really like her. So yes, like pop music. I definitely like pop music better than country. So like I said, if you guys are still here and you're still listening to me, you're amazing, you're awesome, because this is a long video and I'm even tired of hearing me talk and it's my own video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I had another video I was gonna film today too. I don't think I'm gonna make it to it now just because I've been filming for so long and you guys had so many great assumptions. I think it's really funny how a lot of you guys have figured out a lot of these things just by watching me, and little things that I've said here and there. I think that's really funny how much you can tell about a person by just, you know, listening to what they say and kind of putting things together. I think it's a really fun tag. I really hope you liked it. Make sure if you did, you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and make sure you have notifications turned on so that you're notified every single week when I upload new videos. And also, if you want to follow me over on Instagram, it's Aplacetonest Becky on Instagram. I'm over there a lot more, kind of chatting with you guys, trying to post a little bit more of my everyday life whenever I can. So definitely follow me over there. I'll have a link for it in the description box if you want to follow me over there. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.